Okay, hello everybody. My name's Jameson Chase Young and this is Coins and History. Today I'm going to talk to you about the 1912 Barber Half Dollar Philadelphia, but please stick around to the end because we're also going to be talking about the Titanic, and the Titanic's kind of one of those unmissable things. But the Barber Half Dollar 1912 is a very special coin. The Barber Half Dollars in general are very special. They ran from 1892 to 1915. They're named after their maker, the Charles Barber. The Barbers ran the Philadelphia Mint for several years, for several decades, because it wasn't just one. It was a father, and then it was the son. And the Barber Half Dollar, it's obviously made out of silver, and it's 90% silver, 10% copper. Its weight is 12.5 grams. It has a total of 0.3617 ounces of silver in it. Its diameter is 30.6 millimeters, and its edge is reeded. And in the Philadelphia Mint, there was a total of 11,513,000 half dollars made in all of 1912. The Philadelphia, the one we're talking about, it made 6,537,000. And keep in mind, the Philadelphia does not have a mint mark. The San Francisco made 2,208,000. The Denver Mint made 2,768,000. And like I said, 11,513,000 total that year. And these are great coins. I've said this before in other videos. When it comes to Barber Half Dollars, it seems like it's like all or nothing. You either get these really worn down ones that are like, you can't even hardly tell they're Barber Half Dollars, or you get like really nice ones, but then they're like 2 or 3 times more expensive. So I don't know what went down there. I don't know if they were more heavily used in their days or they just didn't save enough nice ones. I'm not sure how it went down, but that just seems how it always works out to be. Now, the Titanic, the sinking of the Titanic is one of the most iconic things. It's also one of the most tragic things. That night, out of 2,224 passengers, nearly 1,500 of them were killed. The Titanic set off on April 10th, 1912. It was on its maiden voyage, and it sunk on April 15th. The Titanic was a British ocean liner that sunk in the early hours of April 15th, 1912, as a result of hitting an iceberg on her maiden voyage. It was coming from Southampton, England, to New York City. There was around 2,224 passengers and crew. Approximately 1,500 died, making it one of the worst, most deadliest peacetime sinking of a single ship. The Titanic, operated by the White Star Line, carried some of the wealthiest people on Earth. It also had several hundred immigrants just coming to the United States for a better life. They came from all over the place, the British Isles, Scandinavia, and elsewhere in Europe. The disaster drew public attention, and it spurred major changes in the maritime safety regulations. And this wasn't White Star Line's first ship that White Star lost on their maiden voyage. They also lost a ship called the RMS Taylor in 1854. But the Titanic was the largest ship afloat upon entering the service of it at its time, and it was the second of 3 Olympic-class ocean liners built by the White Star Line. The ship was built by the Harland and Wolff Shipbuilding Company in Belfast. The ship was under the command of Edward John Smith, who went down with the ship, and the Titanic was equipped with a total of 20 lifeboats. 14 of them were regular lifeboats, 2 were cutter lifeboats, 4 were collapsible lifeboats. The lifeboats could hold a total of 1,178 people, roughly half the number of passengers on board, and a third of the number of passengers the ship could have carried at full capacity. But yeah, it went down April 15th, 1912, and it was never seen again for 85 years until a man named Robert Ballard came around. He's actually a pretty big in underwater discovery. He's discovered quite a few of big discoveries, and they also thought that it sunk in one piece. But upon its discovery, they found that no, it sunk in 2 different pieces. The fundamental problem was mainly it was just under so much water, trying to find it under that much water, and how deep it is, 1,200 feet / around 3,700 meters below the surface, where the water pressure is at 5,300 pounds per square inch. That's approximately 370 standard atmospheres. A number of expeditions were mounted to find the Titanic, but it wasn't successful until the 1st of September 1985. That's when Jean Lewis Michael and Robert Ballard succeeded. The separate bow and the stern section lie about 1/3 of a mile apart from each other. They are located about 13 miles away from the inaccurate coordinates given by the Titanic's radio operator. Both sections struck the seabed at considerable speed, causing the bow to crumble and the stern to collapse entirely. The bow is by far the most intact section and still contains some very intact interior stuff going on. In contrast, the stern it's completely wrecked. Its decks had pancaked down on top of each other. The two sections are surrounded by a very big debris field, approximately 5 by 3 miles wide. It contains hundreds of thousands of items, such as pieces of the ship, furniture, dinnerware, personal items which fell from the ship while sinking, or ejected maybe when it hit the ground really hard, hit the seabed really hard. The debris field was also the last resting place of a number of Titanic victims. Most of the bodies and clothes obviously were gone, consumed by the sea and bacteria and all that kind of stuff, but you would still have like shoes left where they had once been, and you've probably seen those pictures. Titanic is one of those things that everybody seems to be very interested in. Also on those exhibitions, I know they brought up a 20-ton section of the wall of the Titanic, and like they were bringing it up to the top, and right when it got to the water level, the ropes came undone and it sank all the way back, like over a couple miles back down. And then but they still grabbed a hold of it and they brought it back up to the top. And I believe that's in Las Vegas at a showing too. And there's been, lots of controversy, like, oh, is this like a graveyard? Should we not mess with it? But, they have brought up a lot of stuff. Some of that stuff, unfortunately does end up in private hands, but a lot of it has gone to like museums and stuff. But yeah, the Titanic it's a very tragic. I mean, both in the 1,500, lives lost, and, that ship only sailed for like 4 or 5 days before it was sunk. And it's very huge in pop culture. Obviously, everybody knows Titanic, with Kate and Leo, the movie, but they've made a lot of movies about it. And it's just kind of one of those things, everybody knows. I don't even know if we're taught it in school. It's just something we know, because it's like so famous. And that was what was going on in 1912 when the Barber Half Dollar Philadelphia was being minted. That happened in April, so I would assume that the Titanic sank first, and then the Barber 1912 Half Dollar was minted, most of them anyway. Anyway, that is what's going on in 1912. My name's Jameson Chase Young. This is Coins in History. If you like these videos, please like the video and please subscribe to the channel. Thank you.